Good, it's good.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Today is a special day. I mean, I could say that it was a special week in Brazil because they celebrated Valentine's Day. We call it Dia dos Namorados. It's a very special date. Like in Brazil, they celebrate only for couples. Like if we say happy Valentine's, let's say here in Belgium or in Europe, in the United States, it's actually for friends. You can celebrate with a family member, but in Brazil, it's really only for couples. That's why I had to replace this session with this power couple. I call them power couple because they know each other already for, I think, 30 years or something. Still going strong. It's really like, come on, guys, let's talk about love. And I couldn't invite anyone else besides you. I heard this week as well that Valentine's Day in America, like Dia dos Namorados, they have another name. Is Sweethearts Day?
Sweethearts Day.
Vanderlei, have you heard about that before?
Actually, no, I haven't.
Me neither. So anyhow, in Brazil, they make it really commercial. They get lots of money from that. People, they go out eating, they buy presents. So it's really romantic.
Candy.
I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to let this couple talk. Tell us, let's start. Some of us, we know you already. You had separate sessions. You talk about your life, your job, your family, but we don't know anything about you guys. So please go ahead, share your experience being a couple.
Ooh, Simone, what a surprise. You didn't prepare us for this.
I was really mysterious with Linda. She was like, what are you talking about? Huh? There you go, surprise.
Yeah, in Belgium, we don't talk about Valentine's Day, Simone. No, just kidding.
No,
Every day
in
is
Belgium,
Valentine's Day.
in February, Valentine's Day, yeah, the 14th of February.
Yeah.
But we don't celebrate.
No, we celebrate. And then you see the rate of birth. What is it? 9 months later is better. So in February, that's the coldest month. And then, you have to be together. It's cold. So, yeah. So that's the result of that. But we'll see. Most people, let's say they're born in November. Check it out. Other than that, I don't, let's say, I think in Belgium in general, I think we're not as romantic as the people in Brazilian or in Italy. I think we maybe think it's commercial, and then we quickly say every day is Valentine's Day. But I guess in Brazil it's a special day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a whole, you say it's a whole week, yeah?
No, it was a day, like
okay.
on the 12th of June, but I had to do it today, you know what I mean, to keep the week in a romantic tone, you know? No, but guys, tell us, how did you guys meet and how did it happen after, after all these years, 3 children? We are curious.
Yeah, my wife always says there's 7 good years and followed by 7 bad years. And then the cycle continues, Simone. So it's, are we in the good years or the bad years?
I'm sure we're in the good years.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So you guys
No,
live in Belgium? You guys live in Belgium?
Yes, we live in Belgium.
It's it's gray. There's some sunshine, but we had a horrible month of May and June. It's
a lot of rain.
Yeah, a lot of rain. Incredible. Yeah. So normally it's much warmer. Now I think it's
80 degrees. 18.
Yeah.
18 degrees. It's for June. It's not much. No.
Yeah, and Simone is curious. How did we meet? We met each other at university.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
But that was more. It started out as friends. Yeah, We were almost in the friend zone, almost the friend zone. And then, yeah, we fell in love afterwards.
It was
First friends.
first friends, and for me, I had a crush on Dirk, and now we live in the house of his parents. And when we were at university, we went also in the weekends. We went to parties and to go with other friends on a drink. And I was the only one with a driver license, so I need to drive all the guys, and it was so pleasant. And when I came here at the house where now we're living, at the front door, Dirk opened the door, and I had a crush. Oh, it was like in a film. It was amazing. And and so if you see Woody Woodpecker with his eyes, it was so a crush. Oh, it was so for me. It was that's the guy for my life. And yeah, now we're almost in July we're almost 30 years together.
Yeah.
And we live in the house where I had a crush on Dirk. It's for me, it's special.
Yeah. But then I didn't know. We were friends.
Yeah, we were friends. Yeah.
Then I didn't know. So yeah, and then it evolved. And Linda, I don't know if it's true. Linda says, you guys, you think you choose your partner, if it's a guy, girl, or whatever. But it's let's say in a hetero relationship, or it's the woman that chooses the guy. So I say I can test. She says no. It's yeah, we make it happen. So I said okay. So, yeah, that was very nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that Charlotte, Marcel, and I, we can say the same. We can agree with Linda. We chose our man, didn't we,
Yes.
girls? We also chose our man, right? No, but this story that you're sharing with us, I already knew it, of course, because Linda told me before. It's so beautiful that I had to get Dirk on the spot to share it with us. Thank you for that. Okay, guys, so let's start. Who would like to ask the first question? Go ahead, Vanderlei.
Okay. So what do you guys do to unwind, or what do you do for fun in Belgium?
Yeah, there is well, I think let's say like in some countries, let's say in Belgium, well, you can do a lot of sports. But I started to do squash. Well, let's say every small kid starts to play soccer, but then I did a lot of different sports. I do squash. Now I do padel. It came over from Spain, and with I was first doing squash, and then with COVID, that came. Squash is practically dead in Belgium, and everyone started to play padel or tennis, or do something else. And then I think in general people do a lot of fitness. I don't know.
I think as well.
In
Yeah.
general, yeah, movies maybe a
Cycling
little
as
bit.
well,
Cycling is very popular.
Yeah.
Not as popular as in the Netherlands, but you see that let's say you see a lot of cycling. We call them tourists. Some people say terrorists because they go so fast, like the amateur ones. And then you can see someone, let's say, much older than me, let's say 70, but he can cycle like yeah, you just cannot follow. So that's something that a lot of people do on Sunday, and then yeah, have a walk, have something to drink. A lot of people on Sunday, they try to go to a restaurant with their family, not to cook. So I think that's yeah, that's mainly it. Yeah, we have a beach, but it's open 1 month a year. So cold in Belgium.
And it's cold water.
It's
cold water,
it's
yeah.
cold water.
Yeah. Not good, yeah.
Thank you.
I've got a question, if I may, for the lovely couple. You're both professionals, obviously being university. How do you balance your time? Especially, it's interesting. I had to ask this. How do you manage to balance your time?
Yeah, there's 7 good years and 7 bad years.
No.
Good bad. No.
No, we both work full time, and it asks a lot of arrangements, and we always had a babysit. Once or twice a month we go and eat together when the children are small. Now we have more time. They are 22, 20, and 16. Now we have more time, and yeah, we always say that we need to take time for each other, and that's very important.
Yeah, I think in the beginning we said that we would do a city trip every 2 years. Or what was it that we said? But that we didn't manage. And then, it's an interesting question, Richard, because indeed sometimes you meet each other, but you're, especially we met each other, but your life is not yet, let's say, if you're a little bit older, you have your life more or less figured out.
Yeah.
If you're younger, then indeed it could have happened that maybe we went a different direction, and somehow we made it work together. The other friends who then all of a sudden they will do something where indeed if you meet each other when you're young, you don't choose for that life necessarily together. So we tried to make that work. We spoke a lot about it. Let's say if I had to go a lot, because I work away from where we live, so I commute. So of course that means that Linda took more care of the children. So there's
for me it
balance.
was easy because I didn't need to ask always, Dirk, what do you think, I was always alone. It was easy to have both different thoughts about growing the children. He was almost and during the week he was not much at home. For us it was easy. I said to the children, it's this way, and it was that way. The children had no possibility to ask the father because he wasn't during the week. He wasn't there. That was I think that was easy because we didn't have the possibility to talk about what do you want or what I want. He wasn't there. All the things I said, I did it that way. So that was easy, I think.
Yeah. But
I think
that helped. I think that helped. I think that helped a lot. Don't have a discussion about. I said that is okay, and he thought something else, but we didn't have the opportunity to talk about things with other couples.
It's the key to success, Richard, is not to see each other too much.
I was actually going to that point. You make a very valid point there.
Yeah,
I think there's secrets, guys. They sleep in different rooms.
No.
Linda, that could be exciting, though. It could take you back to your teenage years.
Different hobbies, PlayStation. I don't know.
No, and I think it's also very important when you go to sleep and you're a bit angry about each other to talk about it, and then afterwards go to sleep without no discussion, and that's very important. And we always said we try to don't go asleep without with a discussion. That's a thing, and I think it helped. It helps, yes. Yes. We never had a discussion that took more than one day. That's not in our life. I think it helps.
No, it does. I agree. It does. And Simone,
I think it helps a lot.
I sleep in separate bedrooms. It's all because I snore. So.
But we hope we stay in a good health, and we can we can enjoy, like everybody, yeah.
Oh, thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. Good to hear.
Yeah.
All right, so if I may, hello everyone. Haven't had the
Hello.
opportunity of saying hi. It's
Hi.
a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
So I have a question. It's related to education. Like, what is the education system like in Belgium? Because I know very little about Belgium, and I actually would have a lot of questions, but I think this is the very first I would like to make. You have 3 children, so I'm sure that you guys have been through experiences in this education system, and you yourselves, right? So yeah, that's my question.
I think the system in Belgium is, let's say, if you look historically, you had, let's say, education is free in Belgium. Let's say you can start an educational system as you want in Belgium. So that's what they say. There's free education. So to give an example, so you have, let's say, a Catholic schools. And in the past, it was like, yeah, I'm Catholic, so I go to a Catholic school. Then you also had the school which, let's say, was organized by the state. So that you could say I'm neutral or whatever. But then you can also have, let's say, schools linked to, let's say, more Islamic school, for example, or another type of school. So the system in general can be organized freely. Now, 90%, because of our history, it's typically Catholic and maybe state. But the state says you can organize freely, but we need to check what you do, so at least the children get a good education. So that at the end of what they do, they need to be able to do X, Y, Z. And then you also have, how do you call that, some methode school? So I don't know, we call it methods, method school. Like let's say there's some certain schools who say, yeah, you don't need to structure your school that much, but you need to allow children to explore their qualities, we'll guide them. So they have a different approach to things, not. So that's what we say, yeah, there's free education, but as I said, 90% is still like exams and schools, etc. So every school will need to pass exams to be able to test children. And then the school, it's really like, we think 7 or 8 on 10 is a great figure in Belgium. So if someone would say, can you grade me on you being your friend? And you say, yeah, I grade you 7 or 8 on 10 as a friend, we think that's a high figure. In certain countries, no, it has to be 9 or 10. You see what I mean? So there's always, so that's a little bit a number to target in education. And then the education as well, it's we don't have boarding schools. There's no difference. So let's say you can't say, I want to have a better school, so I'm going to pay a lot for my children so they have the best education, and they have a better education than someone else. Normally, that's not the case in Belgium. Everyone goes to
Totally different from Brazil.
Yeah,
Totally different.
from South Africa.
Yeah. So I mention it because I know it's different. And also at university, I think, Linda, we pay how much is it by year? For 1,500? Let's say 1,500 euros, let's say $1,500 US.
For school.
Per
For
year?
the school.
For the university.
For the school, just for the school. So I see you say, is that per year?
1 year, guys, 1 year, not per month, huh? In the USA, it's monthly, 1,500. In Belgium, it's 1 full year, 1,500 euros.
Yeah. Now, of course, if the university is in another city, and it means your children need to pay for indeed for rent for an apartment, of course, then it can add up. But in general, let's say if you live in a city where you have a university or a good school, then that's it. So so as well, if let's say if you as a couple, you don't earn as much, because let's say you're not employed or whatever, and if it's, let's say, the state will help you, they call it then the scholarships. You can get additional funds so that you can get your children to school. So the aim is, now the reality is, of course, the daughter and the son of a doctor, they will more percentage-wise go to university and study for a doctor. But actually, someone, let's say, if your dad and mother work, let's say in a supermarket, let's say they both work there, you can tell your child, we want to support you and you can become a doctor. Let's say if he has the capabilities, in Belgium you can do that. Now, of course, because of social structures, there's still some burdens that your family or whoever doesn't think that that's important or whatever. But in essence, money should not be a problem. So I think, and in Belgium we say as well, we don't have, let's say we don't have, we were just talking about coffee, let's say products in a country. In Brazil, let's say good coffee, you have other minerals, you have a lot of agriculture. So in Belgium we have a lot of agriculture, some companies, but they say in general that the wealth of the country is actually to gain knowledge, because we don't have natural resources really, other than the farming industry. So yeah, there's not much else. Yeah.
Do you see another question just to finish this part? I know that your country is multilingual, right? There are three official languages.
Yes.
Yes. So what is it like in school? Are the classes in French? Are the classes in
So
what language is it taught?
Yeah, the Netherlands, Chico.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can say.
Yeah, and Belgium, and I maybe have mentioned it to some already. So the north part speaks Dutch. We call it Flemish, Flanders. The southern part, French. The southern part, so the northern part has harbors like Antwerp, Bruges. So they're a little bit more, let's say, wealthy. The southern part, of course, they're not near the sea. So they move as well to our, let's say,
Coast.
to Brussels, our main city. So that's why our capital as well is mainly French speaking. So you have the Dutch speaking, French speaking, and then we have a small part in Belgium, which we received from Germany for World War I damages that were done to the country. So it's a very small, very, very small part, but German is an official language. So in the north part of Belgium, and it's also now more and more in the southern part of Belgium. So in the north part, you get your education in Dutch. You're obliged to follow French between the age of 8 and 12. And then depending on what you choose, let's say if you will say, I want to be a metal constructor by the time I'm 18, then maybe you will get less French courses. But if you say I will do a general education to then select to become a doctor, you will continue to get French, but also English and German up until you're 18. So then, yeah. So and the southern part of Belgium, because the main the language of the government or the people that were educated in the past was French. So they have less of a culture to learn Dutch and Flemish, but they're changing. So they're also seeing, yes, it's important to either learn English or Dutch or German. They choose mainly English for a good reason. And they speak already French, which is also an important language. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Very curious.
Okay, Heider, are you there? You had a question.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
So I just raised my hand to tell you that I cannot speak because right now I'm very shocked to make my turn to cut my hair, all right, and shape. Then I will just here to hear you and practice my listening speaks. All right.
Okay, from what I could gather, he's in the barber at the moment, so he's gonna come back and ask his question. Okay, that was a bad timing.
Nice.
Okay, Bruce
All
had a
time,
good question
all time
about your
is
job,
trying to
guys. Do you have like a high level of stress in your job, and how can you compilize that, handle that with your daily life? Like loss of stress at work, how do you keep the stress outside of your home, let's say? Is something that you find it difficult?
Yeah. I don't talk about work at home. Linda, more.
More, yeah.
More, yeah. So that's yeah.
That's the difference, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I keep it out by not talking, and Linda keeps it out by talking. The stress. Yeah. But I
But
think
I guess my question is like in your jobs, I'm sure there's a level of stress, but if it's very high, how do you remedy that? Do you go to the gym a lot, or what do you do? Do you see a psychologist every day or something?
Oh, no. Yeah, I cycle to work. Yeah, that helps me. It's a half an hour before I'm home, and put some music in my ears, and it helps me. Yes. And also the children at home, when they are here, they love to talk about their day. It helps me also to forget everything of my work. I like to garden as well a lot, and I do that 2 times a week. And also I go to the gym, and on the weekend we go jogging in the woods. So yes, it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And if it and if let's say if there's anxiety because of stress, yeah, then
Then it's not good.
only yeah, then it's more you can do than sports, etc. But then it over time it will and then it will go away if a project is finished or but indeed there's no magic cure. Yeah. Then,
I also, when I'm stressed, I clean the house a lot. When I'm stressed, I clean. I clean the house and clean up. That helps me as well.
Okay, so that's also a tip. Like when she starts cleaning, Dirk knows he has to stay out of her sight.
Yeah, something like that. That's like it.
Okay, Marcella, do you have a question? Charlotte, Richard can go again. Questions?
I think Charlotte, I saw something in the chat pop up about my my sister-in-law.
Okay.
Yes, I was just asking if I think Simone said that your sister lives in Oslo. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And I heard your other group chat a few weeks ago that you used to visit her a lot. So I was just wondering, what do you think about Oslo, first of all, and also have you been to other parts of Norway?
Yes. We think Oslo is a lovely city. We went there. My sister lives there since 2000, almost 24 years. And she lives in, I don't know if you know Oslo, the region?
A little bit, but I haven't been that many times.
She lives, when you drive by car, it's a half an hour away from the city center of Oslo. And she works in the center of Oslo, and she takes the bus. It's also 20 minutes, half an hour. And the place where she lives, it's called Waalstrand, Waal, and it's a very nice place around a fjord with a lot of boats. And yes, It's 300 meters from her home, and she can walk through there. Yes, it's a very, very lovely place. This week, since in a few months, she had a couple of
Deer.
a couple of deer in her garden. And last week, she had a small Bambi. Oh, it was so amazing to see the nature, how different it is with our nature. It's more open, how they live. It's totally different from Belgium, totally different. But Oslo is a beautiful city. Yeah, we visited her. Yeah, we went more than 12, 15 times already to Norway, and also stayed as well in Oslo, because when we go with 5, it's not so easy for her to have all of us in her house. And yeah, okay.
And it's funny. One of our daughters, she's a fan of Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift, she's doing a mega tour across the world, but here in soccer centers as well, or soccer stadiums. And then, so one of her daughters, Linda's sister, is the godmother. And then when she heard, you got tickets, huh? And she said, yeah, I got 4 tickets. And she's like, can I come? Can I come? So she will come in summer. With one of her daughters, but that daughter is not a fan, but I'm the godfather of that daughter.
We'll go to Germany. It's about 160 kilometers of our home place. And yes, we will.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We just think Norway is too expensive and too much rain. So when and she went there for the love of her life.
Yes.
And I said, couldn't you find a nice looking Spanish guy, and would have been less expensive, beautiful weather.
No, we had also great weather in Norway.
I'm teasing.
No, it's a very beautiful country. I love to go shopping in Oslo. You have a lot of a great shopping center. It's very great, and the shops are also very nice.
Yeah, you have to have the opportunity now, and the euro is really strong. It's cheaper.
Yes.
I mean, it's still expensive in Norway, but it's a bit cheaper than normal. We noticed we have a lot of tourists coming in this year.
Yeah, true.
But I think Norway is a very great country to live in. I'm sure. My sister is also very happy that she lives there. She will never come to Belgium unless I think she's sick or ill or needs help. But I'm sure she will stay there. She's very, very happy there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's okay. Because for you, it's also, what's the difference between Norway and Sweden?
I mean, it's not that big of a difference. I think the biggest difference for me, since I grew up in Stockholm, it's a big city, and now I live in a very small city. So it's more that I live in a place that's very small, that's different to me than if I would be living in Oslo. I think it would not be that different. There are small cultural differences and how you celebrate, like what food you eat on Christmas and how you celebrate the national holidays. But I think it's very similar countries.
Mm-hmm. How long do you live in Norway?
It's almost 16 years.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
It's a long time. No, sorry, 17 years, 16 and a half.
Well, Charlotte, you don't have to tell them that it was because of your job, because we are in the week of the love. You say it was because of your partner, right? That she found love and she moved to Norway because of him, you see?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
She also has a beautiful love story.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, but both we have the same job, so it was the job first and foremost, and almost as
Come
much. Him.
on, don't say that. Say
Oh.
otherwise to keep it romantic.
Oh, I see that there are some other questions in the chat here.
Let's change the subject. Let's go back to Linda and Dirk. Anybody else? Questions, guys?
Yes, Simone. I want to know if, as a couple, of course, do you have any favorite movies or books, music, and how do you usually celebrate, special occasions and holidays as a couple, of course?
You go first, Anna. Favorite books? No?
Yes,
Or-
I like to read a lot. I like to read different kind of things. We have an author in Belgium. His name is Jo Klaas. I like to read him a lot. Is a writer of the region of Leuven, of Leuven. But also, I read the Book of Hope of also different kinds of things. Yes, I read a lot on books, and also a cloud library. It's an app where you can read books. I don't know if you have also in America the opportunity of to read books on an app.
Yes, we have some apps, some platforms,
Yes.
but I confess to you, Linda, that I actually read in paper, like the book itself. I just really enjoy reading. I read a lot, so
Yes. For me as well, mostly I have the book at home and also on my phone. So if I'm waiting in a shop and I need to wait because there are other people in front of me, I read the book on my mobile, and afterwards I will read at home in my book. So most of the time I have the book on paper at home and also on my cloud library. So I read a lot. I enjoy it. Yes. Do you?
very interesting. Thank you, Linda.
And music,
Music, no,
we're very much different.
Yeah.
And also, I like to hear a lot of music, but Linda likes also silence sometimes. So it's so we have to come to some agreement sometimes. So, yeah. So that's yeah.
I always say use your AirPods. You please use your AirPods. In the morning, I love to have a bit of silence, and yeah, that we're totally different in the morning.
Yeah. So also when I just asked your favorite movies. So yeah, if we go together, it's a compromise. It's
Always.
yeah. If it's romantic, it has to be a romantic comedy. If it's action, it has to be a nice actor for Linda to watch. It's always so we need to find compromise.
Dirk, as long as not
Very
7
good,
days and 7
guys.
years.
Thank
Huh?
you so much.
Yes.
Yeah. I need to keep the 7 good years.
Richard,
6.5
what did you
to
say?
end now.
I'm just saying, as long as it's not 7 years, 7 good years and 7 bad years, a movie title. It sounds like a movie title. I actually wanted to ask, because something you didn't mention, which is a fun fact. Your breed of dogs are the most acclaimed in the world. The US uses them, all military uses them, and that's the Belgian Melonese, I think it's called.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
one of
ask
the most-
Bruce to share their screen with that so that people can see the dogs.
It's the Belgian, they're the most acclaimed and for anywhere. They're used in
What is the name of
airports.
the
They're
dog?
used. The Belgian Melonus. It's Malinois.
Shepherd, yes.
Well, the Germans call them the German Shepherd, but yours is specific, and they are very, very highly sorted. after by the military, by the police,
Yes.
by bomb squads.
Yes.
I just thought I'd mention it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible how disciplined they are and how I think because you can teach them a lot. They listen and they're very athletic. I think maybe you've seen indeed pictures that they climb on a wall to just to go over it or to get something. It's indeed, I agree. Yeah, I have a neighbor who walks his dog, and I sometimes they still whenever they need to drop what they need to drop, Richard, they're like all other dogs. So unfortunately, so sometimes in our garden we see that as well. But indeed, yeah, I think
I
if
think
you
it's
have,
also something
yeah,
important to mention is like here in Belgium, we don't see street dogs at all. I don't know if in South Africa you see them. In Brazil, we see them a lot. In Belgium, no way. I don't know how to say in English. In Dutch, we say fokkers. We have this for different races of dogs. They are all really coupled together, so they have is very strong genes, right? So then they stay like a month or 6 weeks with the mother and being taken good care of, and then they go to dog school to learn how to behave and to learn some tricks. There's something that in Brazil, I don't know if it's heard of if they started doing this. However, we have lots of street dogs. Now, I think Richard and Charlotte can tell the rest about their countries. How do they do with dogs? Because I know it's completely different from Belgium to Brazil. Charlotte, do you know anything about dogs? Because I'm also, I don't know much about it.
I don't know that much, but we definitely do not have like street dogs running around without any owner, if you know what I mean. But it's very strict with, breeding and kennels. I'm guessing just that it's similar to Belgium.
Belgium,
That
right?
yeah, dogs are usually registered, and you have a chip, so that if they get lost, you can have them registered. So it's very regulated dog ownership, and yeah, I haven't seen any stray dogs here at all. In Sweden either, the same.
I think also what I have to mention about dogs, like in Belgium, we don't pay taxes. However, in Holland, in the Netherlands, if you have a dog, like my parents-in-law, they have a dog, they have to pay yearly taxes on the dog. So as Charlotte was mentioning, the dog is registered and you have to pay a fee in order to have a dog. So every single year they pay like 150 euros so that the dog is registered, it's done, or if something happens, the dog bites someone or the dog runs away, they can track the dog.
Do the dogs have
something-
chips?
Yeah, in the Netherlands, huh?
In
I don't know in Belgium, do you guys
in
know?
Brazil, the dogs are like running wild in the streets, and the drivers of the cars are always careful not to kill the dog. In the United States, the dog is dead because the cars run over the dogs, no problem. If the dog's in the street, not my problem. I'm going to kill the dog. Okay, that's American mentality. Not all, but many times. But in Brazil, the dogs are treated like they're holy, like in India.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like in India.
I was
Yes,
gonna
yes,
say that
yes.
Bruce is right.
That's one thing I was
Like
so
when
shocked.
you're learning. Sorry, go on, Rinderly.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Right, I
That's
was
one
gonna
thing
say
I
that
noticed.
when
Oh
you're
my gosh. Go ahead. Go ahead.
all right. So when you're learning how to drive here in Brazil, it's a big concern to watch out for the dogs. Yes, it's really a big concern when you're parking because or cats. Yes, it's so common. Simone said that the dogs are registered. Oh my God, I lived in a place that on the street there's always the street dog. Yes, like the dog that owns the street. There is the leader of the dogs and the other dogs. Yes, and it's yeah, there's our the leader, and the leader of the dogs usually is bigger, or sometimes it's smaller. It's funny, but there is always this hierarchy. And I used to live in a place that each street had like at least 5 dogs. Because nowadays they don't. But there are a lot of dogs here, and they are unleashed. Yes, they are just there. So crazy to know that. Go on, Vinnerly.
Well, I was just gonna say, I've been here almost in Brazil. Well, I've been here a year now, 1 year, and that's one of the things I have really noticed. Like in the United States, we have the Humane Society, so you don't see many wild dogs in the streets and stuff like that. When I'm going to bus terminals, I have a weakness for animals, period. And I was eating a shish kebab, and I was feeding the dogs just because, but they're everywhere. There was like 6, 7 dogs just running around and in the bus terminals, and people just kind of ignore them. But some people feed them. But yeah, I have a soft spot for dogs and cats, so I couldn't help it. But that's a big thing I've noticed everywhere, especially Sao Paulo. Pet shops everywhere selling. I mean, it's a big market. It's like everybody owns dogs here. Everybody. Very different from the United States.
It's pretty much the same in South Africa. I mean, you find dogs in the street all over the show, but we've also got a humane society called the SPCA, the South African Pets Association, and it's a government-funded organization that picks up stray dogs, takes them to a facility, and either looks to have them adopted by families, or the sad reality is euthanize them eventually when you can't, which is the sad reality. I mean, in fact, the pet that I just got now is a rescue. He was dumped as a pet, and I took him in. So he's been chipped and everything. Exactly the same, Bruce. Same as the US. Identical.
Our best dogs have come from the Humane Society. We had a Weimaraner, which is a German dog, a Siberian Husky, and a German Shepherd that we had got from the Humane Society. All wonderful. I think they're thankful when they get adopted after being in the Humane Society.
And they're tough. It's like they're street tough. They've been around, and they don't get as ill. It's the truth. They just don't get as ill as any other dog.
Yeah, they're street smart, street tough. That's interesting.
And thankful.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Some other questions?
I have a question. Oh, go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, I'm curious. I posted a question here about seeing a psychologist or a psychoanalyst. In the United States, it's very common to not talk about it in your job. Because in your job, if people think that you are seeing a psychologist or a psychoanalyst or somebody for your mental health, then they frown upon it because you're weak. You cannot handle your problems. You cannot do this life situation by yourself. You need to talk to somebody. Oh, you are not good. You're weak. But in Brazil, it's the exact opposite. In Brazil, if you're not talking to a psychologist or a psychoanalyst, what's wrong with you? Don't you need help? Don't you need somebody to talk to about your problems? It's like total opposites. So I'm just curious about maybe all of you guys commenting about how life is where you guys are, because this is in your professional life too, okay?
Here it's almost the same as in America. We don't talk about it. It's
That's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Yes. It's very unfortunate. Yes, we can't help it. Yes.
Same, Linda. Same as South Africa. You go about your business, you do your job, you come home and you deal with your own issues.
Yes.
It mustn't go to the workplace.
Is it easy to access psychologists as a psychoanalyst over there in Belgium? Like, is it expensive?
I think it costs around 40 or 50 euros per half an hour.
Half an hour.
Euros, yes.
Hey, how you doing? Okay, your half hour's gone.
I can tell you guys because like 6-7 years ago, I had a nervous breakdown, let's call it. And for me, it was also very difficult to seek help. It was very difficult.
Wow.
Afterwards, I said, okay, I have to do it. Otherwise, I'm not going to get better.
Yeah.
Back then, it was like 50 euros an hour. And you most probably don't get anything back. And I went to a local place here, like 5-10 minutes from my house. However, some people who are not able to pay the bill, let's say, they can go to via the government, let's say. It takes a while for them to get a place. So some people, they have to wait like a month or 6 weeks to get an appointment or to even be assigned. So it takes a lot of time. And
Yes.
in Belgium, I can tell by for my own experience, we are in this way. I also consider myself more Belgian than Brazilian. It's like we are very close, so we are reserved. We don't share much. Of course, with Linda, for instance, she knows everything about my life, about everything what happens. But at work, you, as Richard was saying in South Africa, you do your thing, you go home, you deal with your problems. You're not gonna share, you're not gonna say, oh,
Yes.
please, let's take half an hour break. I have to tell you something. No, here you don't do anything like that.
And that's a
And
big difference,
as
guys,
Bruce,
because I wanted to point that out, because that mental health issue is so important for everybody. But many
yes,
people keep it all inside and then they explode, or they just
exactly.
go to deep depression. It's like, why? Why do we operate like this in America and in all the other countries except for Brazil? Brazil has the idea, we need help, I'm going to get help, and it's normal. But
And
in
it's
the
also
other
the reason
countries, like,
why
oh,
Brazilians,
you
they
have
are
a problem.
considered, Brazilians, they are considered happy people, definitely due to this fact that they share, they don't hold inside.
Yes.
But here, Bruce, as you're saying, we are viewed as weak if you're gonna share something like that. That's for sure.
So I
And
want to
Charlotte
really
was
point
saying,
that out
Charlotte,
to
what you're saying?
Marcella. Marcella is interested to maybe travel to another country. And Marcella, you deal with human relations all the time, human resources, right? And so it's very interesting to see this big difference between Brazil and other countries.
Yes, Bruce. I am a psychologist, and I can tell you guys, here in Brazil, it's something that matters. Even in the organizations, in the companies, we are really more interesting and really more how can I say?
Words. Your words about your
We
people.
are implementing a lot of sorry guys, initiatives related to you to mental health, because this is not so great for the employee, for the person that works in the company, but it's also benefits the company itself with more productivity, with more engagement, with more results. So everybody have the benefits of, when we treat mental health as an important issue, as an important pauta for the companies, for the organizations as well. So
it's interesting for the other people to hear that, Marcella.
Sorry.
It's interesting for them to hear your perspective and Brazilian perspective, because it's not this way outside of Brazil. That's why I wanted to show you guys. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah, but there is a point, Bruce, about this matter that is super important for us to point out, even though, like, I made this question about the price, because here in Brazil, it is, well, it's pricey. It's not like something you can't reach, but most people can't. Yes, and so even though we have this, let's say, mentality here in Brazil that is important for us to talk about our problems, it is very hard. It's actually rare. The normal people, yes, people that don't get more than, I don't know, 3 minimum wages, because usually here in Brazil you get lower than that. Most people, you don't access psychologists, so you just talk to friends. Yes, and I have heard about something very cool about this, that the origins of this behavior of Brazilians is very related to how indigenous tribes work. Yes, because they would socialize the raising of children. It wasn't just the both parents, as the Catholic European system has always been. So this has changed deeply when the Portuguese and indigenous they mixed, right? And that's, well, it's a very, let's say, hollow explanation, but well, that makes a lot of sense. Yes, because it's a point that didn't happen in Europe, or for example, when even though there were the Indians, yes, in
But
America.
you see, You raise a very, very, very important point, because what you've just described is what happens in South Africa because of the amalgamation of the indigenous people, and it's exactly the same. We talk to each other about the problem to resolve it. So it's what I said. South Africa is a lot like Brazil, a lot like it. The similarities are actually
Well,
quite scary. Yeah.
And then you can compare Belgium, the Netherlands, with Sweden and Norway. It's pretty much the same. I think the USA differs a little bit, but you can compare it to Canada as well because they're neighbors. Guys, it's been an amazing session.
No, Simone, no.
But I promised them it was just 1 hour and I have to keep my word. Otherwise, they never come back. They're going to say, oh, Simone said something and then she does something else. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Dirk and Linda, for sharing your stories, for taking
Okay, thank you as well.
Charlotte, Richard, thank you so much. And all the Brazilians who are here.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
It was a lovely time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye.